the Maui Gym Oxer at FEI. Best of luck to each and every one. Very heavy prize fund today, $75,000. And also, of course, competing for a place to qualify for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup, which we're going to see here on Sunday. If you haven't got any plans yet, make sure you come and join us for that one. It's the first of 14 legs in the North American League, and we really do have a stellar lineup, so make sure you join us this Sunday here at Thunderbird Show Park. First of 14 events. It takes us all
Good
over
evening and
North
welcome
America
to Thunderbird Show Park in beautiful British Columbia. Katie Stazak here. Thanks for tuning in live. It is World Cup week here in Langley. A tremendous cast of riders and horses have congregated here at T-Bird for the first leg of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Vancouver. That is going to take place right here at T-Bird on Sunday, and we are leading up to that competition with 4 international classes. We got underway with our first just this afternoon. Sanka Taiman and Cyprus VF took the T-Bird Happy Welcome Stake. The stakes are being raised right now. It's the $75,000 CSI 4-star Maui Gym Welcome. We've got 50 horses lined up to contest this track. It is a 1.45 meter course designed by Ireland's Alan Wade. Connor Swail is going to lead us off, and boy, he has a great record here at Thunderbird. He brings in the first, G.K. Coco Chanel. 10-year-old Holsteiner Gelding is by Clarino and owned by Vanessa Mannix. That's been Connor's longtime client. Last year during World Cup week, he swept all of the international classes. He was just unstoppable. That was with a horse named Flower, coming in with a different group of horses this year. And again, this is a speed track. No jump off today. 1 round against the clock. And it is a great track set by Alan Wade. In our earlier international class, it was a bit more straightforward, a lot more technical in this course. A few set numbers, but a lot of rollbacks. And it's going to be all about your path and how you can be the most efficient here. Connor's starting off with a great pace here. But a bit of disobedience here. He's fighting to not get a refusal here at that Liverpool vertical at fence 7. But he's having a hard time getting his horse off his left leg. He's a tough rider. So committed here. Going to straighten things out and get over on the second attempt. He will bring the rail down, unfortunately, but that'll take him out of the top placings anyway, with the time here delayed with him pausing and having to circle. Of course, that's another 4 penalties for that refusal, disobedience. So he's on a score of 8 right now. This is a horse that he finished in the top 10 at the World Cup qualifier at the Royal in Toronto last November. That was the World Cup qualifying debut for the gelding. And winner here in the 3-star Cypress Point Stables Grand Prix that took place at Thunderbird. Very uncharacteristic for this pair, and they came out with a great pace. Unfortunately, not to be today, leading off here with a total score of 11. They will be a few on the clock. 93.58 seconds was their time. Time allowed today is 83 seconds. International classes, 1 time penalty for every 4 seconds over the time allowed. Connor encouraging his horse here on the way out, and plenty more jumping to come this week. We have our Steel Craft Doors ranking class, a 1.50 meter event to take place tomorrow afternoon at T-Bird. Same time, same place, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And of course, the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Vancouver, the first World Cup qualifier of the season on the North American League, will take place Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Kenneth Vinny today. These two have been partnered for 3 years, incredibly consistent. They've made the top 10 in 5 of the 8 international classes that they've jumped. Still a relatively young career for this horse, and he's pretty small. He said, kind of says on a good day this horse stands 16-1, but he has all the scope and willingness to want to do well. That's more of a technical line on course there across the ring. Liverpool vertical to plank. It's a 4, but it's more of a little bit of a holding off 4 there. Again, really want to set your horse up for that very careful plank on the top of fence 8. Through the timers they go. A little bit slow as well. It's going to be a total score of 5:84.36 seconds the time. Well, you'd have a hard time believing that the next rider would ever be anywhere close to time faults in a speed class. Here is Richard Spooner. They call him the master of faster. He's in aboard a younger mount, though. First off the bat is the 8-year-old Italian-bred stallion. He's by Heartbreaker, and his name is Love. Starting off with a nice pace. This is, again, a younger mount. Just made his international debut with Richard in June. That was at Spruce Meadows. But if that is anything, it would be an incredibly educational experience for a young horse and in a similar, very large, expansive grass field. So the horse does have that type of experience in that regard. Great back to the double here. Nice and quick. That's an area back to that double where you can really make up time and just get a good gallop. But then you have to come right back for the careful plank. Again, very well done. 2 top 12 finishes at Spruce Meadows for the 8-year-old. It's a 9 there. I almost thought he was going to go for 8. He steadies and gets his first back. That's a very nice looking 8-year-old. 73.85 seconds and a clear round right to the top there for Richard Spooner and Love. Early leaders here, but that is certainly a horse to watch. On to Canada now. Here's Joelle Froese. She's aboard the veteran gelding, Holsteiner, Romeo's Child by Ramiro's son, too. Joelle, another rider that has just been a staple on the Thunderbird Show Park circuit. In fact, she's only jumped 1 international competition outside of T-Bird since 2014. A lot of success at the meter 40 height and 2- and 3-star competition this summer. And now taking that next step up today. come out of the turn there. They pushed just maybe a touch past that Liverpool vertical. It's been a very nice calculated ride up until that point. But just going out a little bit wider, just a touch more conservative than what we just saw from Richard Spooner. She did one extra stride there to our Wildlife Oxer. And one more as well to our final Maui Gym Oxer. Of course, this is the Maui Gym Welcome Stake. They will finish on a score of 6, a couple on the clock. They finish in 90.77 seconds. So for jumping, 2 on the clock.
Zazou Hoffman, USA.
Zazou Hoffman will be next. She's aboard a 9-year-old Anglo-Arab gelding by for pleasure and owned by Padawag Stables out of Santa Monica, California. This is Vice Versa Dassault. It's a horse that Zazou actually put a group together to buy. It's the first time she's done that, riding professionally and really coming so far in the past year for winning her first Grand Prix just 2 years ago and now jumping at some of the top levels of the sport. Part of the young rider developing team in Europe for the USA this summer. But unfortunately, a little bit of trouble with this horse today. They jumped in the meter 40 class earlier and had trouble at the Liverpool vertical, but now the horse doesn't want to go forward there to the first fence. I don't think the jump actually had really anything to do with that there. You can see Zazou just getting a little bit more aggressive now. The horse is jumping quite well. And this time around, jumping the Liverpool fine. Zazou may be riding just a touch aggressively after the disobediences, so they're going to pull both rails there in that more steadying line. Just going to regroup a little bit here in the turn. And unfortunately, just not to be today. They will have a second refusal. Zazou was really fighting for it.
5 combinations gone so far, 1 clear, and a stretching sprinter sitting at the top with 12, 73.85.
These two are just stepping up together. Zazou done so well at this level with Samson. We'll see that pair a little bit later on and throughout the week. And we'll certainly see more and better from this one. So we'll move on now back to Canada. Here is Jacqueline Duff. She's the owner of this 14-year-old Oldenburg gelding. By Staccato, it's Staccaris. These two have been partnered since 2012, know each other so well. Actually, a former ride of Brazil's Eduardo Meneses. Gonna pull an early rail here, though. They'll take down the vertical at 2. That's our chess piece vertical. And they'll leave long to fence 5 and pull the back rail of that oxer. it looks like they're just going to elect to call it a day here and save the jumps for later on in the week. It's like with any sport, anytime you speed up the pace, it is more difficult. You have to take more risks, and you can't just perfectly place the horse at every fence when you want to go for it at that quicker speed. So again, we'll see more of that pair later on in the week. We'll move on now to the USA's Shawn Casady. He's aboard Dakar VDL. Shawn is having a great year, just 23 years old. His mount, a 10-year-old Dutch warm-blood gelding by Cardento. Shawn partnered with Winmont and Ronnie Beard last year. He moved from the East Coast out west, and he's taken on, as of late, all the rides of the very successful Tina Yates and High Point Farm. That's because Tina just had her first child, so she's on maternity leave right now, and she'll be back to riding, I'm sure, as soon as she possibly can. In the meantime, Shawn's keeping the horses going and getting some valuable experience in his own right. These two were champions at this -45 height at Show Park in May, also a top 3 finish in a National Standard Grand Prix at Blenheim in April, and now stepping up to the international level. Well, we'll see the front rail of that totem pole oxer go this time. We just saw the back rail fall. This horse has such a big stride. Up and over the last, they do add 1 rail to their initial 4 at jump 5. It'll be a total score of 8. 78.33 seconds is the time. Shawn Casady and Dakar VDL. Again, a newer partnership stepping up. We'll see them gelling as they go. Well, right here is probably the complete opposite, the most opposite you could find of a new partnership. Lordan and Nayel Nassar of Egypt. 14-year-old Hanoverian gelding by Lordanos. Hardly needs an introduction here. Just a sensational partnership. 2-time World Cup Finals veterans. They've won World Cup qualifiers at Thermal. Just last year, that was the 2nd time they had won that class, as well as at Wellington, Del Mar, and they've won $2 million Grand Prix. They'll surely just go for a nice stroll today, though. Always super competitive. These two spent the summer in Europe. They were following the Longines Global Champions Tour, now back in North America. They will pull an uncharacteristic rail there. Fence 8, it is that careful plank, such a steadying line. But that horse is so adjustable. He came back so quickly, he might have even come back too much. And through the last there, pretty quick still, 72.38 seconds. It would have been the fastest to go to the top here, but they do have a rail they'll slot early on here into 2nd place. That's going to be a great tune-up, though, for that pair as they build up to the World Cup class here on Sunday. Never count them out. Well, here's another pair that you certainly can't count out. At least you can't count Ashlee Bond out on any horse. What a sensational string she has right now. And, of course, she will be representing Israel in the World Equestrian Games just next month. Just a few weeks away, so she is using Thunderbird as a prep for that championship. This is Donatello, 7-year-old Westphalian gelding. He's by Diorado and owned by Ashlee's family's Little Valley Farms. And Ashlee is such a fast rider. Unfortunately, though, they'll pull an early rail here. Again, that front rail of fence 5 is going to come down. And then they'll get just a touch hung up in the air there out of that combination. But again, this is a very young mount for her. Just started jumping the international level this year. Didn't take very long to figure this out. Kind of tested the waters at Spruce Meadows, came away better for it, as so many horses do. They won a ranking class at 2-star Del Mar and 3rd in the Grand Prix there, as well as being runners-up in a 3-star ranking class here last week. Fortunately, though, again, trouble here at our Liverpool at fence 10. They circle and come back around. And they'll finish there through the timers. 21 is the score with that circle there. Time faults added, 99.49 seconds the time. Again, a very young horse, just 7 years old. He could still be jumping the 7-year-olds, and he's out here jumping in 4-star competition during a World Cup week. So definitely another horse to watch that will take this experience, just as he did at Spruce Meadows, and come away better for it. Hannah Heidegger of the USA next to jump. 21 years old. She's aboard DiCaprio RV, a 10-year-old Dutch warm blood. He's by Verdi. Hannah, a very successful graduate of the Young Rider program. 5-time veteran of the North American Junior and Young Rider Championship. She picked up 2 medals during that span. Of course, that's now been rebranded as the North American Youth Championships this year. With this horse, she's been partnered at the FEI level since last August. Debuted internationally right here at T-Bird. She goes to leave long in 8, just not quite there. There's another step. They're going to punch out the rail of our Liverpool vertical at 7. We talk about the physical strength and the commitment as athletes for both rider and horse. Hannah certainly knows what it takes to be a top athlete. Her father, Klaus, was actually an Austrian alpine skier. So a lot of just sheer athleticism in the family. They're going to finish up today with a score of 8. 77.18 seconds the time. Staying with the USA now, we'll welcome in Carly Anthony. She's aboard Chaco, 12-year-old Oldenburg gelding. He's by Chaco Blue and owned by Neil Jones Equestrian. It's a big week for Carly. She will be making her World Cup debut right here at Thunderbird. She really grew up at this show. She said she's been coming here for the last 20 years. Of course, she did take a brief break as she spent a good amount of time in Europe. She was working for a couple of different farms, decided to come back and start her own business. And she's been working and riding for Neil Jones, getting the rides on some very nice horses and producing the results. And again, that very careful plank is going to come down. And they'll finish on a score of 81.82 seconds. Carly Anthony and Shako. She's got one other ride today. She's going to said she's going to jump both horses and see which horse feels better to her, and she'll make her decision on which will be her World Cup partner here on Sunday. Well, Kasey Ament in the ring now. She is aboard Dexter R. This is a 10-year-old Dutch warm-blood stallion. Kasey runs her Kasey Jump operation out of Thousand Oaks, California. Debuting this horse internationally at the beginning of the year. A nice top 10 finish in the 3-star ranking class that took place right here at T-Bird. And as we're watching this round, I also want to welcome in a special guest joining me up here in the booth who jumped out of that combination. Great. I've got Jacqueline Duff with me. Jacqueline, just riding the course. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on how it rode.
It's a really nice course, actually. It's very flowing. If you have a big moving horse, it's quite scopy and careful. There's lots of places to leave out strides on the long gallops. Actually, Kasey and I were discussing the course a little bit for her horse. He's got a very big stride and he's very careful. So this course suits him quite well.
And what about your mount? This is a long time mount for you. Won your first FEI class with that horse. Tell me a little bit about how having that kind of partnership plays to your advantage.
Yeah, I've had Stackris for a very long time. I actually bought him as an 8-year-old off Eduardo Meneses, and he's been a super horse for me. He won my first FEI Grand Prix. He actually, this summer at Spruce Meadows, I jumped my first Derby on him, and he was a total hero. He's just coming back to this level. He actually, about 4 years ago, got the neurological herpes virus.
Oh, wow.
And he actually almost died, and it's taken him a really long time to come back to sport. And he's such a fighter, and he's such a good horse. So I actually was really happy with him today. I tried to be a little bit competitive, and I said to myself, if I have a couple down, I should pull him up because he's an older horse, and he knows his job, and so I'll save him for the next show.
Awesome. What an incredible story to come back from that. What was that like for you, kind of bringing the horse back from that type of condition? And was the prognosis always, I mean, you said it was not very good for a while.
Actually, he's one of the few horses, possibly, there's actually probably not very many that have come back to this level of sport that have been diagnosed with neurological herpes and actually not passed away.
That's pretty special. Well, it takes a truly special horse. His record showed that before then, but that heart coming into play as well. And tell me a little bit about the rest of your string. You have a very nice group of horses right now.
Yeah, I have a couple of younger horses just coming up. Venus Degu is a 9-year-old that I have really high hopes for, and I have a little 8-year-old named Fable who's really fast and really careful, and I'm really excited to move him up to the meter 45 level this year. And I have Caesar Z. He's been a long-time horse of mine, and he's big and scopy, and All or None is just coming back after an injury in Rome, but he feels great, and so yeah, I'm very excited.
Sounds like a very nice group. And does that help you as you're planning with maybe some older horses where you have others that can kind of take the pressure off them?
Absolutely. I find at some of the smaller shows like the 2 Stars or the national shows, I can really focus on my younger horses. And then at these shows, I can focus, obviously, on the 3 Stars and 4 Stars a little bit more on the older ones.
Now, Vanessa Mannix just wrapping up her round with Valentino Delte, moving right into the runner-up slot, 77.66 seconds for her very sharp go-round there and keeping the jumps up, as we've seen quite a few fences falling as riders really going for the pace, and a very nice purse in this evening's class. We will turn it over now, staying with Canada, Femke Kochan. She is aboard her ride here coming in. This is Dariusa S. 10-year-old Dutch warm-blood mare by numero uno. Jumping the international level for the past 2 years. We saw her in World Cup qualifying competition at Calgary last season. Another has many riders competing here today, spending the summer at Spruce, and that surely helps as they continue on a very big open grass field here. They are going to pull an early rail. They take down the front rail of our Oxer at fence 3. Just got a little bit crooked throughout that line.
Femke's had this horse for quite a while. She's brought it up as a young horse, and she's done a really great job with it.
Femke based out of Bosch Farms in Red Deer County, Alberta. And what's it like kind of bringing up young horses to this level? What's that process like for you, and how much more rewarding is it when you're having success with a horse that you know you've developed yourself?
I think the best part about developing the young horses is, to see their progression over the years and even on a day-to-day basis. Also, I like to think of it as they're your go-kart. They've got all the buttons that you've put in there, so, you've made them so they understand every command, whereas sometimes when you buy a made horse, it takes a little while to get to know them because they've been trained by somebody else.
That's a great way to put it. I love that analogy. So Femke and Dariusa going to come through the timers here. Not their day today. They're going to finish on a score of 20:95.77 seconds the time. And so many riders, like you said, you came out here kind of going for it, and then when you knew kind of it wasn't quite going your way, you're going to save your horse for another day. How much do things change in a speed class when suddenly you're going from a calculated placing distance to risking it and really going for it on the get-go?
I think it's hard. That's the hardest part about this sport. I look at last week, I galloped up to the first jump thinking, I'm going to try and win today, and I nailed the front pole. And I was like, okay, my day's over. So that often happens. And, when you have a younger horse, you keep going and you try and get the experience. Maybe you still do the turns so they can learn if they're going to have a back rail on an inside turn, or, it's a good learning experience for them. I think as you go in the ring, it changes based on what your horse does, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, here's a rider that is certainly on it from the get-go the majority of the time. Rich Fellers, he's in aboard Steelby, 10-year-old Swedish warm-blood mare by Empire, owned by Kathleen Waldorf. These two made their international debut in March, and this is a horse that is really coming on, thriving at Spruce Meadows, won 2 ranking classes at this height, plus a top 3 finish at the meter 50 height.
Rich is a really fast rider, and this is a really fast horse.
That's quite a combination. After they won at Spruce, Rich called this horse a hot-blooded woman. Always quotable. But unfortunately, they'll come off of the turn and pull down the front rail of our 2018 T-Bird double. Just coming in with such a great pace. Wow, and what a time. 72.39 seconds. Just a bit unlucky there with the one rail. Hard to really see anything wrong with that. It's just a bit unlucky. Another nice round, and that's a partnership to surely watch. Certainly in the speed classes, but I think you'll see bigger things from that pair as well. So that's going to bring us now to Tracy Epp. She's aboard Chicago, another representing Canada. 11-year-old Dutch warm-blood stallion. He's by Cicero Zed van Pamel. Another long-time partnership, jumping the international level for the past 3 years. Another with previous experience competing in World Cup qualifying competition at Calgary. And they made their 5-star Grand Prix debut just this spring, jumping here during Nations Cup week in May.
Yeah, this horse jumped really well last week with Tracy.
They did. Top 5 finish in the 3-star classes at Blenheim as well. Just really coming on. And how is it mentally when you come into a week like this and maybe having a week before? Great to have a little bit of a series here at Thunderbird where you can get in the ring and say, all right, I'm feeling good, my horse jumped well, and here's a big week coming.
Definitely. You can really pick your classes. Like if you want to come out and be really competitive today, it's a little bit easier if you've been showing for a week. You know exactly what your horse is going to do in the ring. They've seen most of these jumps, and they're pretty comfortable with the venue by then.
Wow, galloped in great to that double. Our horse backed off just enough. An athletic effort there over that Liverpool. Horse is jumping great. What's it like riding on this field? How do you approach a speed track when you have so much space out here?
It's a lovely field to ride on. The footing's fantastic. The horses feel fantastic off the ground. It's really nice in a big grass field like this in the speed classes because you have a lot of opportunity just to gallop and let your horses jump, whereas sometimes in the sand rings it's very controlled and you're always turning.
That was beautiful. 85.09 seconds. They will pick up a single time fault here on the clock. Time allowed 82 today, but that was beautiful. We should definitely see it more from them the rest of the week, and that should set them up quite well.
Yeah, Tracy has 2 horses in this class, and this would be the horse that she would aim at the World Cup. So in my mind, she was just going around to give them a good class before the big class.
And which horse will you aim for the World Cup this week?
I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to jump the World Cup. If I do, I'll aim Caesar Z at it. I had full intentions on taking a different horse this week that actually didn't end up jogging. So we'll see. We'll see how tomorrow goes in the 150.
All right. And will you pursue the league? Will you jump at the other qualifiers maybe when all one comes back a little bit more?
Yeah, so my original plan was to jump the World Cup here and then go to California and jump some of the World Cups there. But my horse had an injury in Rome earlier, and I didn't feel he was quite ready to jump at this level yet. So we'll just play it show by show and see where we get.
Fantastic. So we've got another representative of Israel. Here's Saree Gordon. She's aboard Azure 108. 12-year-old Westphalian gelding, owned by Tomboy Farms. These two debuted at the international level in March. Another with nice finishes at Spruce Meadows. It'll be just the one rail against them. 82.03 seconds is the time. And a score of 4. We are still chasing the time here of Richard Spooner and Love. Really only 2 clear rounds of this class so far, and Richard well out in front on a 73.85 second time. Vanessa Mannix, she was beautiful with her ride, and she sits in second in 77.66 seconds. That'll bring us to Jad Dana representing Lebanon. He's aboard this ride in Carnival. 13-year-old Oldenburg Gelding, another by Chaco Blue, owned by Spruce Meadows. 23-year-old is just having a fantastic year.
Yeah, he had some super results at Spruce Meadows in some of the bigger classes, and he did a couple horses in the U25, and he had a really good summer.
Unfortunately, going to pick up an early rail. Here's the front rail of our double there at the end of the ring will come down. His father owns a big barn and a riding school in Lebanon. In fact, this guy has won the Lebanese championship 5 times, and he did that by the time he was just 18 years old. Ended up going to university, and he got connected with Spruce Meadows, and they brought him over, and he's been able to get some incredible experience here, and he's done so well. Just a great story. He's been in Calgary since October of 2016. And jumping the bigger and bigger classes. A bit of a rub there out of the double. And they'll just get rolling a bit home and take down the Longines vertical at 12. 87.21 seconds is the time. And the score is 18. Allison Robitaille will be next as she brings in Sedaine D, 8-year-old Westphalian gelding by Coronado. We just saw this horse jump the meter 40 class earlier. Came away with a nice finish, a younger mount, getting a ton of valuable experience. Of course, Allison also has her World Cup Finals veteran ace here, who took a very nice tour round, ended up finishing second. A lot of options here this week at Thunderbird. Of course, we have our meter 50 class tomorrow, meter 45 this evening, our meter 40 earlier in the day, and a couple people electing to jump both classes today just to get the horses a lot of experience. When you're looking at a schedule and you see those kind of options, what is your thinking, and how do you look to build horses up? Of course, it's got to be very individualized based on the horse, but to have this option of 2 classes for a young horse, what does that do?
It's great, actually. A lot more people last week actually jumped both classes, the 140 and the 145, because it was the first day jumping at a new venue. You saw less do it this week, but a couple still did it on younger horses or ones that maybe didn't have the greatest round on Sunday, and they just wanted to rebuild and make sure their horse was feeling confident walking into the 75,000. I chose to do the 140 on the horse that I'm aiming at tomorrow's class because he's not really a speed horse. So I just wanted to jump a really nice, easy track for him to prepare for tomorrow.
What differences did you notice? I'm interested to hear your answer from the first course to this one, because this one seemed a bit more technical than the first.
For sure. The class earlier was just a clear round class, so there was no prize money, and it was just basically to get the horses in the ring and give them some jumps to jump. This class is a lot more track. It's bigger. It's a meter 45 as opposed to meter 40, and there's a lot more lines.
Yeah, absolutely. The first round was lots of just very natural flow to the course, where this one you saw there's so many more rollbacks. You have the planks. Though the first class did give horses an opportunity to jump the T-bird wall, which was pretty cool.
Yes. Most of us jumped it last week. Actually, I didn't jump it last week on the horse that I did in the clear round because it wasn't in the Grand Prix. But it definitely caught a couple horses in the welcome last week.
Allison Robitaille just finished on a score of 5, but that's a very nice young horse coming up along the ranks. Interesting here, Sayer Happy is back with this horse from the last round, and he jumped very, very well. And trouble here, and that's actually the second horse to stop at that first fence that we've seen this class.
Yeah, it jumped a super round in the clear round.
And just seeing something that he definitely does not like about that fence, 9-year-old Zangerscheid Gelding. Unfortunately, that's going to result in elimination here. It is a bit darker, maybe seeing some shadows. That's really kind of the only thing, unless something is just catching out of his eye there, because he did jump, quite well in the first class earlier and didn't have a problem. But that is show jumping, just not their day in this class. And plenty more opportunities to jump throughout the rest of the week. That'll bring us now to Mexico. Antonio Marer is in the ring. He's aboard Haskos, 11-year-old Belgian warm-blood gelding by Cicero Zed. Antonio brought this horse up largely in his native country in Mexico, and they ventured outside to come up to Canada for Spruce Meadows, and now sticking around for Thunderbird's show circuit. This is a pair that just showed continual improvement throughout the Spruce Meadows circuit that culminated with a top 10 finish in the Meter 50 Pepsi Challenge. They jumped 2 clear rounds there, 3 additional rounds with just a single time fault. What does jumping at Spruce Meadows do for a horse, and jumping out on a big grass field do for a horse?
Well, some horses will be spooky jumping on the big grass fields. And one thing about Spruce Meadows is the material's quite a bit different than anywhere else. They use very long poles, and they're quite heavy. So actually a lot of horses are really spooky there and struggle jumping there. And some horses jump amazing, whereas they won't jump as well here because the material's a little more delicate. But all in all, jumping horses on the grass is fantastic. There's less and less big grass fields now.
Absolutely.
Most of the arenas have the sand, obviously, because of weather and the amount of horses that jump on the turf.
And we've had quite a bit, not here at Langley, but there have been a lot of wildfires in the kind of surrounding area up here in British Columbia and Canada. And it's been smoky and dry, and the way that this grass field has held up and how green it looks, the maintenance, the crew here have just put in so many tireless hours to keep this footing up to par, and it's just incredible what they've done. This field looks fantastic for how dry it's been.
And it's fantastic to jump on. The footing is absolutely great. This one will be fast.
Yes, she will. Karrie Rufer in the ring, and here she is aboard her veteran partner. It's Georgie Dovray, EC. 12-year-old Belgian warm-blood gelding. Karrie knows this horse so well. They've had great finishes. They were top 3 at the World Cup at Las Vegas.
She had a super week last week. She chose to use one of her younger horses in the Grand Prix to save Georgie for this week.
And this is just has to be a favorite partnership that you root for, because the two of them have come up the ranks together. This horse had never jumped a meter 45 before she got him, and she didn't have a ton of experience at the bigger classes, and they've just really thrived together.
Yeah, she's done a fantastic job bringing him up. They're great partners.
Unfortunate early rail here for them. I'll just blame you. You talked them up. Normally I get to blame myself, but I can share the blame here with a co-host up in the booth.
It's okay. She's got a second horse, and her second horse is equally as fast.
She'll be saving that for later in the week, I am sure. Karrie Rufer and veteran partner Georgie, they'll finish with just the one rail. Nice time, 72.65 seconds. And that'll bring us now to Eve Jobs. This is Limbridge, 9-year-old Holsteiner stallion. A newer ride for Eve. Just acquired him in June in Europe. Michael Hughes was riding the stallion. Posted a top 10 finish in a ranking class overseas, 3-star level.
Yeah, this is a new ride for Eve, but it's a super jumper. It's a really nice horse.
And when you get a newer mount and you're stepping up to the next level, what do you kind of look for as you start that new partnership?
I guess consistency. As you're figuring out your horse, trying to deliver consistent, say, clear rounds, and just get to know your horse, basically. And once you get to know them, away you go.
When you're looking for a horse, what's your ideal ride? If you could kind of pick the horse that says, all right, this is my comfort zone here?
Well, I like them to be quite athletic, and one thing all my horses have in common is they're quite careful. Nowadays, with the sport being very modern and delicate material, I think you have to have one that's pretty careful.
Absolutely. This horse is jumping great. They're going to jump in maybe with a touch too much into that line with the Liverpool. They'll pull that rail. But this horse looks like it also has just a lovely rhythm. It's like a rocking horse stride.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful canter.
Quick with its knees. They'll finish with a couple of time faults there as well, just taking more of a conservative route, but that's another partnership on the rise. Score of 11, 91.85 seconds. Well, here's a pair that we'll certainly be watching all week long. LJ Tidball comes into the ring aboard Concheto Sun. 14-year-old Oldenburg gelding, owned by Thunderbird Show Park.
Yeah, LJ and this horse have been a great pair. She jumped her first Nations Cup in Mexico this year with this horse, and she jumped some really big tracks at Spruce Meadows, including the big Grand Prix, and yeah, they've been a super pair.
And that Nations Cup debut was a winning one with Canada. He's a very hot horse.
Yeah, she didn't show him in the Grand Prix last week. She chose to use her other horse to save him for this week. And she was telling me at the beginning of the week how wild he was. So it's definitely not feeling his age at 14.
No, this is a very gutsy partnership. They're a lot of fun to watch. And this horse just wants to go and wants to jump. Great job there, kind of bringing him in, pushing him over with that right leg as he started to kind of bulge that shoulder out. And he's jumping so well.
Come on, MJ.
We're rooting her home.
Super. That was great.
Beautiful round. Haven't seen many clear rounds today. 80.43 seconds. That's going to put her into third place here.
And I think she'll be happy with that because I don't think she intended on going super fast with, she wants to build him for the World Cup on Sunday.
Absolutely. She should be thrilled that he looked fantastic. He jumped that so well. They will move into third here. Canada taking up second, third, and fourth for the time being. We're nearly halfway through this class and still just 3 clear rounds, really speaking to both a little bit of the technicality in this speed track as well as people are going for it.
Absolutely. And, it's a solid 145. It's not small for a speed class. And that's why you'll see the middle line with the Liverpool to the planks is quite delicate. And you're seeing a lot of faults there.
Juan Jose Salgado in the ring now. 23-year-old representing Mexico. His mount is Tino La Chapelle. 11-year-old Self-Francais gelding by Milord Canthargo.
And this is a fast horse.
Won a ranking class at 5-star Copexpin in April. Very consistent at the 4- and 5-star level. Wow, moved up beautifully there for that 9. Just kind of swept the turn.
He actually got to balance in 4
yeah.
legs.
They are quick coming out of the turn here on 58 seconds. Just soaring here. They're going to take this well in hand. There it is. 70.99 seconds. They will go straight to the top.
Don't worry, Spooner still has 2 more horses to go.
That he does. Yeah, and that was he was leading with the youngest and least experienced of the group. So we'll see how he comes out, but a very nice round just put in there. Juan Jose Zendaya Salgado and Tina La Chapelle, Mexico now on top of the leaderboard. Well, back to the USA we go. Here's Brennick Larson. She's aboard Care Paravel, 13-year-old Irish sport horse gelding by VDL Douglas. Great stallion.
Yeah, she had some really good results on this horse in the 145s at Spruce. She actually did them in the Speed Series. So you can look for a quick round. This horse doesn't spend a lot of time in the air, which makes it quite quick.
Although unfortunately pull an early rail here at our first combination. And that's a little bit of the risk there when you have a very quick horse that doesn't spend a whole lot of time in the air. You're going to pick up some seconds, but sometimes you just might catch an unlucky rail here and there. Just not quite coming back there to that Liverpool either. And that'll put them on 8. That'll be the only mark against them. 82.21 seconds, the time, a score of 8 for Brennick Larson. Now, watching this course here, is it riding the way that you walked it?
Yes. The only question really on course when we walked was whether or not we would do 4 from the Liverpool to the plank or 5, and it's very horse specific.
Yeah.
And, you know, also how competitive are you going to be?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've seen both, but certainly you're going to be quicker if you're doing the lower number.
This should be good.
Yes, it should.
Connor won both meter 40 classes last week, both 10,000s, the winning round and the meter 40 Grand Prix with this horse. It's a young horse.
It is. This is Cosfin Iced. Connor Swail in the irons for Ireland. This is a horse that he's been bringing up a bit gradually, but he always goes for it. The horse has been winning. They take kind of the next step up now into international competition, but virtually unbeatable in these national standard speed classes.
Well, I think even when Connor's being conservative, he's quick.
This is very true. He is one of the fastest riders around, and he knows this venue and this field so well. He's just won here so many times.
I mean, if anything, I'd say his horse is jumping too good right now, and it's slowing him down a bit.
Right. Oh, and unfortunately, he'll take down the front rail of fence 5. We've seen that come down a few times. It's kind of set on an angle there, and you think about turning back to be efficient because you have a long bit of a gallop there to that next double. And again, this horse is now taking kind of that next step in its career. Made its 1 meter 45 debut just in July at Bromont. Also jumped at Ottawa. This horse definitely has a lot of potential. I can see why Connor's excited about this horse. Just really turned back there on that oxer. Again, just maybe a little bit of greenness there. And rolling home, they'll take the last. Score of 12:72.13 seconds. Again, a very young horse taking that next step up. There'll be plenty more great results for that pair to come. Well, as you mentioned, Richard Spooner had more mounts, and here is one of them. This is the horse that he'll aim for the World Cup class on Sunday. It's Kirado RC 9-year-old, owned by Rancho Corazon and Guy McIlvaine. This horse has had just a slew of top results, and Richard still thinks that he's a little bit green, which really says something, but he's really excited about this horse's future.
Yeah, he had a lot of super results in the 5-star Nations Cup week here. He was really good in the Grand Prix, and he had some really good classes at Spruce Meadows with this horse.
Won 2 ranking classes at Spruce, top 5 in that Longines Grand Prix here at Thunderbird in May.
And he's not going to go full out because he's planning on using this one in the World Cup.
Yeah, he'll save him a little bit, but like you said, I'm sure he'll still be quick enough. Especially this horse has a monster stride. He's just going to take a little bit more of that scenic route. Jumped great there. Richard is a true horseman in addition to being an exceptional rider, and it's so exciting to see him with all the nice horses he has right now because, ooh, he went for it there. Going for the leave out a little bit. Carado's going to fit in an extra stride there. And even Richard Spooner is not a machine. They'll finish on a score of 481.64 seconds. Lorenzo O'Farrill, Mexico, will be the next in the ring, hoping to join her teammates somewhere up there on the leaderboard. This is Pekin St. Denis, 15-year-old self-français stallion. These two had an exceptional spring. They jumped in Jalapa, and they made the top 10 in every 5-star ranking class that they jumped. Also runners-up in the 2-star Grand Prix at Balvanara in March. They've been paired for quite some time, jumping international competition since 2012. Also a nice finish here at T-Bird just last week.
Yeah, it's a super nice horse. He's not the fastest horse, but he's very scopy and quite careful. So he'll be a great horse for the World Cup on Sunday.
Definitely a good mix here of riders going for it, maybe with younger horses or speed specialists and those just preparing for the World Cup here on Sunday. Again, it's the very first leg of the North American League. 14 legs. We'll see 7 East Coast, 7 West Coast. Of course, T-Bird part of the West Coast Sub-League of the North American League.
Horse is jumping super.
Yes, was definitely showing off some of his scope here this evening. Well, we haven't seen many clears here. It isn't going to be the fastest round of them, but it'll still put her pretty high up on the leaderboard. She's going to move into 5th place. Or actually, maybe a bit higher. Our 5th place it is, 83.85 seconds. They'll just move ahead there of Tracy Epp and Chicago. So we'll see Zazou Hoffman back now. It's her second ride, and it's her top mount inner string. It's Samson, 14-year-old Swedish warmblood gelding. He's by Cardento, owned by Woodacre Stables. Zazou had a great spruce with this horse, 3 top 10 finishes. Went to Europe, jumped at Lisbon in the CSIO 3-Star Nations Cup, part of the developing rider team for the U.S. Runners-up at Madrid. Just really a nice partnership with this horse.
Yeah, she's had some super results with this horse. She didn't jump it last week, so this will be the first class that she's jumped on him, just because she's planning on saving him for the World Cup this week.
Zazou's always been an exceptional rider, having success from a very young age, junior ranks. And after she graduated college, all that was missing really was a horse, and she's begun to put those pieces together, getting a very nice string. And this horse, owned by someone in the barn with Meadow Grove Stables, and they decided to sell the horse, and Saree Kane, who's been a huge supporter of Zazou, stepped up and bought the horse for her to ride.
Yeah, Saree's been a fantastic supporter for Zazou, and Zazou has a great string of horses right now, and it's really great to see. She's super hardworking, and she's a fantastic rider.
Absolutely. They'll do 8 to the last, just the one rail there in that more technical line of verticals. They'll finish on a score of 477.44 seconds is the time. Katie Edwards will be next in the ring representing the USA. She's aboard Sotelo, 11-year-old Holsteiner. He's by Coolidge, owned by Mountain View West Farm LLC. Nice finishes in 3-star competition at Blenheim. That was at the Oaks in March. Also some nice placings at Thermal. Obviously, T-Bird is a West Coast venue, and we see a lot of riders from Canada as well as the West Coast of the U.S., but there are 13 nations represented here this week. This is a venue that so many riders just rave about, and it is a just brilliant management, brilliant facilities. What do you love about riding here?
Well, actually, this is the first time I've been to Thunderbird in 8 years, because I was actually on the East Coast for the last while and in Europe, and I'm pretty excited to be back. It's absolutely amazing what they've done to the venue. The staff here are fantastic, so friendly and so nice. The courses are great, the footing is great. It is such a nice venue.
They used to do the North American Riders Group, a top 10 ranking of horse shows, and Thunderbird was always so very close to the top. And I remember I am based on the East Coast, and I remember being younger and going to those meetings and saying, gosh, where is Thunderbird? This place looks awesome. And coming here, it's so obvious why it was so highly rated, and I know would be continued to be up at that high ranking if they continued to put out those lists.
And the nice thing is they really listen to the riders. You know, if you say the footing's a little hard, they go and add footing to the ring. They very much so want to please the riders and listen to everyone.
Katie Edwards going to finish on a score of 9 there. 8 jumping, 1 time, 84.14 seconds. And that'll bring us now to Shawn Casady and his next ride, Durango VDL, 10-year-old Dutch warm blood stallion. It's by Zorocco Blue.
I'm sure Tina's watching at home, so if you are, hi Tina.
Great shout out there. We're so excited to have Tina back with us when she is, but hope she's enjoying motherhood. I'm sure she is. Shawn's been riding the majority of Tina's string and keeping her horses going for her. This partnership just debuted internationally here at T-Bird last week. They made the top 10 in the 3-star George and Diane Tidball Legacy Grand Prix. He does 7th there to the Oxer. Really went for it. Finds a great one out of the turn. On a very nice pace here. Gonna be close. He'll be just over, but what a nice round. 71.44 seconds. They're gonna move right into 2nd place. Shawn Casady and Durango VDL. They just debuted internationally last week, and looks like Durango feeling very good in a partnership that's come together quickly. That's a nice horse. That'll bring us now to Eduardo Meneses. Karushka is the ride, 14-year-old Oldenburg mare.
This horse wins a lot of speed classes, so I'm just going to take a wild guess that he's going to go for it.
This horse is definitely a speed specialist. 3 wins in 5-star ranking classes, all in speed in 2018. That was at Spruce Meadows and Jalapa.
Yeah, he's been a great horse for Eduardo. He's won a ton.
Wow, does 8 there back to the double.
He knows this horse so well, too.
And we talk about these speed classes being so much about track, and he has just ridden the line so well without moving here.
Yeah, he knows this horse really well. He knows where he can gallop and bring the horse back, you know, to jump the jumps clear, like when he galloped over the first combination. It's tight back there.
The horse just backs off, knows just when to back off, too.
He did 8 to last. Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker. They had the time, too. 68.91 seconds. They'll pull just the last rail, and I will take the blame for that one, saying the horse knows exactly when to back. He does, but just a bit of an unlucky rail there at the last. They did go for it. A really nice, sharp round there for Eduardo Meneses.
Yeah, that's too bad. It was super round. He maybe went a little too direct in the 8 and unfortunately had the front rail.
When you're walking the course for a speed track, obviously some of these lines, if this were a Grand Prix, you might not walk a number. But here, how many different tracks do you walk, and are you walking those extra numbers in places where you might not ordinarily?
Absolutely. Like, I think it also depends on how competitive you want to be.
Sure.
If you want to be really competitive, you're walking the track from, okay, maybe not 1 to 2, but, you know, 3 to 4 AB, you're going to get a number there.
Yep.
So you can know. You can watch who's leading and know, hey, they did 8, I need to do at least 8. If I'm 9, I'm under pace. And from this Oxer to the double, same thing. Some people walked a number there just so that they could know how competitive they need to be.
Well, Eduardo just did 11 there, just for reference. And we're seeing Ashlee Bond here with Chella, who's probably not going for speed on this horse, and she does 13.
Yeah, absolutely. And even after this double to the Liverpool, some riders actually didn't walk from 9 AB to 10, but, I mean, anybody that was wanting to be competitive definitely walked it thinking 8.
Yep. Getting a little bit hung up in the air there out of the turn. Ashlee not only thinking about preparing for the end of the week, but also preparing for the World Equestrian Games, and that is a horse that she is going to be targeting for those championships in Chella LS. She's so happy to have that horse back in her string, coming back from some time off. That horse has had tremendous results, and Ashlee will be part of the team representing Israel in Tryon.
Yeah, super exciting for Israel to have a team, and I look forward to watching Ashlee.
Great team there. It'll be Daniel Blumen along with Ashlee, Danielle Michon, and Daniel Goldstein. So Uma O'Neill next in the ring. She's aboard San Vano, 9-year-old Oldenburg Gelding. This is a partnership that's just a bit newer to the international level, but getting valuable experience in July at Spruce Meadows. Still looking to catch the time of Juan Jose Zendeja Salgado. Tino LaChapelle sitting atop the leaderboard here, 70.99 seconds. Got about 15 left here. And they'll pull the front rail there of our Liverpool Oxer. It's got there a touch too soon. Still a very solid round there for a partnership that's getting more familiar together at the international level. It's going to be a score of 5. 4 jumping one time, 83.19 seconds. And we'll come back now to Jen Gates. Riding her veteran partner, Pumped Up Kicks earlier in the day. Now she's aboard Alex, 14-year-old Westphalian gelding. This is the horse with whom she won the U25 National Championship at the National Horse Show in Lexington, Kentucky in the fall. And this horse coming a little bit full circle now as Jen started training with Harry Smolders. This horse was formerly ridden by Audrey Coulter, who also trained with Harry Smolders.
Yeah, it was a super horse for Audrey, and it's been a super horse for Jen. I mean, she's clicked with this horse since they bought it right away. It's a great match.
Just getting maybe a little bit too strung out there through that line to the careful plank. They're going to pull that rail. Otherwise, horse has been jumping great. Lots to like about that round. Some very nice jumping there. They will finish on a score of 79.9 seconds. Vanessa Mannix now back with her second ride. She had a great round earlier, was sitting in second. She's currently fourth with Valentino Delte. This is Chemas, 10-year-old Holsteiner gelding by Clearway.
She's galloping up to the first round, and I assume she's going to go pretty fast on this one. She had a super result last week in the speed class on him.
Very productive summer, these two. Top 10 in the two-star Grand Prix at Caledon. Top 5 at Spruce Meadows. Nice finishes here last week. Jumped great out of the double.
Super.
A lot of horses jumping really well out of that combination today. They do the 4 beautifully. She cut the turn. She was going for it. Fortunately, we'll pull that front rail at fence 11. The rest was 76.57 seconds. Score of 4. A great day for Vanessa Mannix, riding so well.
Yeah, both her horses jumped fantastic. She rode great.
That'll bring us now to Tracy Epp. She's aboard Denise, this time 10-year-old Dutch warm-blood mare. This is a partnership that debuted internationally this year. They've jumped here at T-Bird along with Calgary and Blenheim, making their 5-star debut at Spruce. Looking to continue to build that resume. Tracy had a beautiful round earlier with Chicago. They ended up with just one pesky time fault. And she's going to take a little bit more of a conservative route with this horse as well. You can see just going nice and wide there to line up two. Ooh, jumped in really well in that combination. Got a bit tight out. Very athletic effort to get out of there.
Yeah, it was super. It skipped off the floor. It was very careful at B.
He'll get a little bit deep there to the Liverpool. That rail's going to fall. Horse kind of want it to really fall in with the left shoulder off of that double. And they'll pull down the front rail of our T-Bird 2018 combination at A. That's actually been a little bit of a tricky element for some of the riders today. You think about turning in the air and you're coming off of that steadying line, wanting to kind of gallop a little bit in the space that you can to that combination, and then you're just off the rail in the VIP tents. A lot of little tiny elements there that make that a bit more challenging than it probably seems at face value.
Absolutely. And the Oxer's quite square, and it's at 145 at A, so it's a bit imposing for some of the horses, and it's also a little bit in the shadows. Now that the sun's going down a little bit, the whole ring's a little bit in shadows, but at the beginning it was a little more in shadows compared to everywhere else. So
definitely an added element there. Tracy and Denise going to finish on a score of 10, 8 jumping, 2 time, 89.87 seconds. That time for them. Guillermo Obligado, the next to join us, Tornado the mount, representing Argentina. This is a 13-year-old Swedish warm-blood gelding. Guillermo runs Woodgrove Farm in Rancho Santa Fe, California. Some nice finishes at Del Mar this summer. Guillermo actually had back surgery last year. He said he did absolutely everything to avoid it. He tried lasering, he tried acupuncture, but he said the pain was so bad it just interrupted his riding. So he elected to do surgery. He's come back quite well. He said it was the best decision that he ever made. He said he feels strong again and really wants to ride again. It's really been rejuvenating for him. Coming a little bit forward there to the Liverpool. That'll be added to the front rail of 5. And a bit of a shift left there through the double. They might have been able to do 8 there in that final line. They'll add in 9, and they'll pull the front rail of that final Maui Jim Oxer. Unfortunately, today they'll finish on a score of 22:90.29 seconds. Just jumped their first international competition together in March. Another step up here, certainly taking a lot of things away to learn as they head up to this 4-star level.
Still only 5 clear, so actually a conservative clear round is going to pay pretty good in this class.
$75,000 the purse in this CSI 4-star Maui Gym welcome. Jad Dana back with his second ride. This is DeRosso VDL. 10-year-old Dutch warm blood stallion. He's by Cassini, another owned by Spruce Meadows. These two made the top 10 in the World Cup qualifier at Calgary last season. The top 10 finish in the Sun Life Financial Derby at Spruce in July.
He jumped super last week. He was clear on Friday, I believe. Yeah, he had a good week last week with this one.
He jumps in a bit quiet and he hustles out for the 4, but so hard to do when there's that careful of a plank. Well, the rest of the course was great. Score of 481.64 seconds. And we've got just 11 remaining here. And like Jacqueline said, very few clear rounds in this class. In a class of 50, we've seen still only 5 clear rounds, 2 with a single time fault. 4 faults will put you right now within the top 8. That position currently being held by Eduardo Meneses and Karushka, which will probably stay at that 8th place position. They had a very unlucky final rail here in this course. Could very well be leading right now.
That was too bad. Darrin had the first jump down.
Unfortunately, not the start that Darrin Dlin would like representing Canada. He's aboard Dorado, 9-year-old Hanoverian gelding. Coming in, they have the first 2 fences down. They're going to take down 5 as well. Unfortunately, they're on an early score here of 12. This is just the second international class for this pair. They made their international debut last week here at T-Bird. That was a 3-star, now stepping up to a 4-star. They're going to finish with a couple on the clock as well. It's going to be a total score of 26. Just not their day today. And of course, we only see here on the stream a very small portion. It's just the end product. So much comes into it before you go into the ring. And of course, the schooling may be sitting around a little bit and coming in a little bit quiet. You never know. But just not the day today for that pair.
Yeah, and that horse has probably been inexperienced, and every trip it has in the ring is great mileage for it.
Absolutely. Antonio Morer now back with another ride. His next mount is Chakstara, 10-year-old Oldenburg mare by Chaco Blue and owned by Mario Anate. They've had a very productive year. Top 10 finishes in 5-star ranking classes at Copexville and Spruce Meadows, as well as a top 10 finish in the 4-star Grand Prix at Balvanera in March. A little bit of a shift there. Over top, though, they're going to bring down the back rail of fence 3. Alan Wade is the course designer this week. He will be designing the track at the World Equestrian Games in Tryon. If there's one thing that I've learned from watching so many of Alan's courses, he's designed so much on the North American League. He is one of the very, very best that the sport has to offer. It's that a lot of times his courses are deceptively difficult. Walking this track, I would not have thought that there would only be 5 clear rounds up to this point.
No, not at all. Actually, when I walked, I thought for sure there'd be at least 12 clear, and it would be pretty competitive. I didn't think you would get a prize with a slow clean. But Alan's a fantastic course designer. His courses are all very jumpable and very good, but he definitely, builds the line like the line across the middle. It's caught enough riders.
Absolutely. He's a genius, Alan Wade. He really is. Well, here's another top pair in the ring. It's the veteran partnership of Mandy Porter and Milano, 13-year-old Swedish warm blood. Gelding is by Orlando. These two did win the World Cup qualifier at Sacramento last season. Top 5 at Las Vegas, top 3 at Thermal. They've won the $1 million AIG Grand Prix at Thermal in 2017. Very few things that this pair has not accomplished.
Yeah, this pair has been fantastic together. Like you said, they've won a ton of things. Mandy's quite quick with this horse.
And this is a horse that can jump indoors, he can jump outdoors, just so versatile and so game, really rises to the occasion. Little bit of a rub there, 2 fences from home. It stays, though, and that is a lovely clear round. Another one added to the resume of Mandy Porter and Milano. 76.59 seconds. They're going to move right into 4th place. Well, that's going to certainly guarantee them a ribbon here this afternoon. We've seen 43 of 50. And here's Karrie Rufer now with her second ride. This one is My Tai, 9-year-old Westphalian gelding.
This is a super horse. He's young, but he's feisty, and he's careful, and he's quick. And Karrie's had some fantastic results with him.
He has been just so consistent.
And he's kind of risen up to anything she's asked. She took him in the Grand Prix on Sunday to give him more mileage, and he was great.
Making the top 5 in that class. Also 3rd twice, making the podium at Spruce Meadows. And on a great pace right now. Leading time 70.99 seconds. Will we see a change at the top of the leaderboard? They're going to be a touch off the pace, but it's a very nice round.
Super.
74.82 seconds. They'll move into fourth place, Karrie Rufer and Mai Tai.
He's just 9 years old, so he's just moved up to the 145 level this year. I bet you she's thrilled with that.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't think of many things that she could have done differently there. Very closely bunched through some of those placings. Yeah, just a second off of Richard Spooner and Love, who were leading this class for a very good portion of it. And then a few seconds ahead, you've got Shawn Casady and Juan Jose Zendejas Salgado. Will anyone catch that time? 70.99 seconds. Here's one starting off with a good gallop. Mariano Maggi. He's aboard Quintago. 11-year-old Holsteiner. He's by Quidam de Revel.
Yeah, I watched this horse jump on Sunday. It's a super jumper. It's really cool.
Oh.
As it double kicks.
Did not want to touch that rail. This horse certainly has a hind end. They're going to pull the Liverpool, though. That puts them on a score of 4. As Salgado going to hold on to the lead here for another round.
We still have Spooner on Arthos, and he won quite a few speed classes at Spruce Meadows with that horse, so.
He absolutely did. He's going to be last to go here. And we've still got Connor Swail to come again. They'll pull the final fence as well and finish on a score of 878.11 seconds. Mariano Maggi and Quintago VA. Lindsay Archer in the ring now. She's going to be next to jump aboard Jarper, a 9-year-old. Belgian warm-blood gelding. He's by Ogana Sita. Lindsay running Shady Lane Farm in Alamo, California. It's a newer mount for her. They just debuted internationally last month. Runners-up in the 2-star Grand Prix at Del Mar on July 28th. They're going to just get a little quiet, though, until deep to fence 1. They'll pull down the back rail of our Longines Oxer. And some trouble here. They're going to pull out of fence 3. Looks like she's going to be just retiring here this afternoon. And that'll leave us now with 4. And the next rider to come is the rider that's already leading this class. Juan Jose Zendaya Salgado going to be back with us as he enters the ring. And he's aboard the 9-year-old Just Nice Van Het Indehoff.
What do you think? Do you think he's going to try and go faster on this one than the other one?
I wouldn't put it past him. He certainly knows how to ride this track and ride it well. Leading the way here currently. He has absolutely nothing to lose at this point. 70.99 seconds is his own time to beat. And these two won 2 ranking classes at Spruce Meadows this summer. They were second in another. And they're starting off quick.
Yep.
Wow, quick. 10 he did back to the Oxer. Oh, but he will take down the plank on a great pace. He's still leading the way, though.
You know, the sun's come out, and now there's some big shadows on that combination, so I can't imagine it's so easy to see.
No, and he's going to pull a third rail. They were on such a brilliant pace, but the sun has literally just come out from the clouds and cast shadows all over the ring. Just as you mentioned, Jacqueline, and you were talking about it earlier, there was a little bit of that at the beginning of the class. The sun went in, and now it's definitely the most contrast in the ground that we've seen here today.
For sure, and when you're cantering to jump 12, the Longines vertical, you're jumping right into the sun.
Absolutely.
And you can see the giant shadow marks in front of the vertical. So hopefully no horses leave from the shadows, because that often happens when the sun starts going down.
They'll finish on a score of 12 this time around. 78.30 seconds. Still leading the way, though, with his first ride, Tino LaChapelle. 70.99 seconds, still the time to beat, and we've got just 3 left to jump in this class. Another from Mexico, it's Carlos Hank Guerrero, and he's aboard Market Erminka. 13-year-old Anglo-European mare. Carlos is fresh off an appearance at the North American Youth Championships with this horse, earning a Young Rider Team Bronze medal with Mexico. He was also 6th individually in Young Rider competition. Runners up right here at Thunderbird. Again, really nice back to the oxer. Eight to the Liverpool. But they just have a bit too much. That plank's going to fall again. Definitely been the bogey element of today's track. Now he's going to take up a bit. Through the timers, just the one rail against them, 71.47 seconds. It was a great time, and he even took up a bit after he had that rail to fence 10. And that'll leave us with just 2, Connor Swail and Richard Spooner.
A great 2 to have as the last 2.
Connor's going to give Rubens Lassie a little bit of a look there at that double. So many shadows cast there along from the tents of the VIP.
This horse doesn't always look like it's going super fast, but Connor is really good on his track, and it has quite a big stride.
This horse has been a super reliable mount for Connor. Part of the winning Irish team in Nations Cup competition right here at Thunderbird in May. Also on the podium in the 5-star $500,000 Grand Prix in Wellington in March.
He just did 7 to the double. Most people have been doing 8.
And 10 there. Wow.
I imagine he'll do 7 here.
He does, and beautifully. He does 5. Richard Spooner had looked to do it earlier.
Super.
Beautiful. There's your new leader. 70.61 seconds. He gets it. Connor Swail, Rubens Lascia, the penultimate pair to jump here. They are going to take over the lead. Brilliantly done.
The question is whether Spooner does 5, tries to do 5 again to 12, or if he does 6. He really didn't leave very many options.
No. I mean, he did leave out after leave out, and like you said, just made it look slow. It's just absolutely beautiful. Well, here's where it gets exciting. Richard Spooner will be the last to jump here aboard Arthos R. It's the horse that he brought to the World Cup finals specifically for the speed round. This horse is fast.
And again, with this horse, when Richard's riding it, it doesn't always look like it's super, super fast, but it's like Connor. He's really good on his track, and the horse has a really big stride.
Richard had a fantastic Spruce Meadows, another horse that won 2 classes there. Both speed. He does 8. Does get 10, like Connor. So quick back there.
He's going to have to roll back pretty tight on this one.
Oh, it hops in the cups. And unfortunately, the back rail of the following fence will come down too. That would have been a great turn. He cleared that. He'll steady up to the last. He went for it, and that is what this sport is all about. A really exciting finish here to Welcome Stake, the second of 2 international classes here today at Thunderbird Show Park. Plenty more to come this week as we build to the CSI 4-star Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Vancouver. The win today, gonna go another win here at Thunderbird for Connor Swail and Rubens Lascia. Juan Jose Zendaya Salgado, he's gonna finish up in second. He held on to the lead for so long in this class with Tino La Chapelle. It was just 0.3 of a second difference between first and second here this afternoon. That is how close it was. And less than a second then back to third, Shawn Casady and Durango VDL. Got to be great things coming for that newer partnership at the international level. Richard Spooner, he held on to the lead for a while as well. An early lead with the 8-year-old. Love great things to come from that young horse. Karrie Rufer and Mai Tai, quick and efficient for 5th, followed by the always reliable Mandy Porter and Milano. Vanessa Mannix, great riding today. She will finish up in 7th with Valentino Delte, followed by LJ Tidball and Concetto Sun. They'll be aiming for bigger classes later on in the week, followed by Lorenzo O'Farrill, Pekin St. Denis, and rounding out the top 10, Tracy Epp and Chicago, 11th and 12th, Eduardo Meneses and Karushka. Take a look at the time, though, there. 68.91 seconds. They would have had this class were it not for that final rail. And Carlos Hank Guerrero and Market Irminka going to finish up in 12th. Great classes. Just a few clear. Only 8 clear out of these 50 riders. Another brilliant course designing job by Alan Wade. I want to thank Jacqueline Duff for sitting up here with me for this class. It's been great to have your insight on both your horses, the great things ahead coming for you, as well as a lot of the other West Coast riders that you've been riding with here the past 2 weeks. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. My pleasure.
So that's going to do it here this evening at Thunderbird Show Park. So many more great things to come. Tomorrow's feature, same time, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be the $75,000 Meter 50 CSI 4-star Steelcraft Doors Cup. And then, of course, our World Cup Jumping Vancouver. It will take place here. $145,000 and valuable World Cup points on the line here Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific. Katie Stazak here. Thanks for tuning in live with us on T-Bird Live as well as Facebook Live. Great show jumping here in beautiful British Columbia. See you back here tomorrow.
Well, as we turn our attention towards the in-out gate, we're going to welcome back our top athletes here, led in, of course, by your winner, Swail of Ireland. Rubens Lucia takes the Maui Gym welcome. Well, as our top 8 assemble, we say a huge thank you to the whole team at Maui Gym. Fantastic supporters here at Thunderbird and fantastic sunglasses as well. We're going to get underway, though, as we step forward now to congratulate our winner of the $75,000 Maui Gym welcome. Going to Ireland, Swail, Rubens Lucia. So Jane Tidball stepping forward there with the representative of Maui Gym as well to congratulate our winner today. An athlete who won here last week and also, of course, won the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier here last year as well. So we look forward to seeing him on Sunday in that big World Cup qualifier. Continuing on down the line today, though, as we say well done to our second place combination, Juan Jose Zendias, Tino La Chapelle, Mexico. Moving down into third, it's well done to Shawn Casady, Durango VDL of the USA. In fourth place on this occasion, it is Richard Spinner of the USA with Love. Staying in the United States of America as we progress down into fifth place, Mai Tai and Karrie Rufer. Heading down and into sixth place now, the USA's Mandy Porter, Milano. Now back to the home nation, going into Canada for Vanessa Mannix and Valentino that takes 7th place. And then completing our lineup today on home soil, Jane Tidball of Canada takes 8th place, Concerto Sun. Once again, a huge thank you to the whole team at Maui Gym, and a huge well done to all our athletes. But one final thing left to do here on day 2. It is time for that final victory gallop as we congratulate your winner, Conor Swail, Rubens Lucia, Ireland. Well done once again to Conor Swail. He takes the win. It's Juan Jose Sandias in 2nd. Shawn Casady takes 3rd. And there's Richard Spinner finishing in 4th place. Say well done to Karrie Rufer there. She was 5th here this evening. Mandy Porter in 6th. Vanessa Mannix 7th. And Jane Tidball of Canada finishing in 8th. Making his way around once again all on his own is the winner of the $75,000 Maui Gym Welcome, Ireland's Conor Swail, Rubens Lucia. For a final time, huge thank you to Maui Gym, to all our athletes, and of course to everyone who's joined us this evening for the Maui Gym Welcome. Plenty of national and international sports still to enjoy here as the weekend progresses. Make sure you come back and join us. But from all the team here at Thunderbirds, have a very good evening.